trying to create depth in that second scrimmage. Some of the older guys, more veteran guys, you know, we were trying to be smart with them collectively, offense and defense, and just try to make sure we got out there healthy. Got some good work for some of the older guys, but wanted to see us tackle. You know, we didn't tackle well the first couple times that we tackled, so obviously that's been a point of emphasis, you know, over the last couple of years here. So I thought we did a better job of that. Definitely not a finished product, but and then, you know, some of the younger guys, whether it's safeties, linebackers, even corners, like trying to see their development and where are they at going into the season. You know, I think a lot of those guys, when you're freshmen, sophomores, you know, that hadn't played a lot of college snaps, like your growth is exponential week to week. So just trying to really, you know, set a depth chart for where we're at going into week one, but understand that, you know, as guys continue to grow and hopefully develop, that those things can change and there'll be competition week to week at that. So I think we definitely accomplished some of that. So all in all, I felt like it was a cleaner scrimmage on our side of the ball than the first one.
Are there any players that maybe in particular you feel like exceeded your expectations in fall camp and have really emerged as guys that now you can really see them having roles, bigger roles?
Well, I think if just going position by position, I mean, starting with the corners, I think Crossley's had a really good fall camp, you know, making that transition. We were excited about it. You know, his best year here was playing corner, and he's a team guy and embraced the role, and you've seen that he's going to be able to play a ton of snaps for us this year. I think, you know, the rest of that room, I think Deuce had a much better fall camp than he had this spring. I think AJ's been really consistent. You know, Smokes, I think there's a lot of depth in that room that we feel really good about right now. You know, safety-wise, you know, to me, the big four that we have are all going to battle for, you know, I think we'll rotate, you know, those four guys a lot of snaps right now, which obviously they're all experienced guys, whether juniors or seniors between the four of them. I think, you know, those guys have, you know, really been pretty solid during camp. You know, CJ's had a really good last couple of days. Ahmad's had a great day today, had a really good, you know, last 3 or 4 days. Zay's getting back to healthy. You know, we know what Jonathan brings to the table. So, like, you've got 4 really good guys there, and so then it's trying to get, you know, Jaden and some of those other guys who are going to be the next guys, Abdul, etc., that are, you know, we can trust in games. Linebacker-wise, I mean, we've got 3 that have played a lot of snaps, and then, you know, we're still trying to, Coach Crum's still trying to figure out, hey, who's going to be that 4th, 5th guy for us in the rotation, who's going to be ready week 1. And like I said, I think that's probably a position where you'll see a lot of growth week to week on some of those younger guys. And then, I mean, we're really deep on the D-line, feel really good about where we're at D-line-wise as far as the talent and those guys understanding the defense. So I think Coach Dunham, Coach Tibbs continue to do a great job with the D-line and our edges. And so, you know, all in all, I think we're in a good place right now, but obviously can't be complacent. We haven't played anybody yet, and so that'll be the first tell is, you know, the first impression that we have week 1.
How do you feel about where kind of the depth chart stands for you right now in your mind, and how kind of solid is that going into Nevada, or is there still some tweaking to be done?
Well, I think it's like, you know, I mean, I think position by position, the good thing that we have is we have competition. And the best place, you know, environment I've been in, you know, like, there's competition to see who's going to quote-unquote start week 1, but at the end of the day, I tell the guys this: it doesn't matter who starts the game, who finishes the game matters. You know, if I don't start the game and I'm one of the 4 safeties, but I'm finishing the game and everybody's healthy, you know, that tells me that I'm obviously probably played a really good game. And I mean, assuming guys aren't gassed at the end of the game, right? So, you know, I think we're going to have some positions like that, safety, corner, linebacker with the 3 linebackers, that you might see different starters week to week based on how they practice and how they perform in the previous game. Like, I think you need that. And, you know, that's what I talked to the safeties about the other day. Like, we have 2 seniors, 2 juniors. Like, they're all 4 really good players that have proven to be trustworthy and accountable. And so, you know, we want that competition, not just, well, you're a senior, you're starting. Like, no, it needs to be, well, who performed the best week to week, and hold them to that. So, you know, I'm excited to see that battle, because when you have good chemistry and you have guys that care about the team, then they understand that. And, you know, I think in a lot of those positions, we have guys that are, you know, if we play, you know, 4 safeties, the majority of the snaps, I mean, we're still going to play 80 snaps roughly on defense in a game, 70 to 80 snaps. So that's a lot of snaps to go around. But, you know, I think you'll see it shuffle from week to week. I hope you do, because that means the guys are competing to see who can produce position by position.
And Coach, a lot of coaches have talked about the fact that quality control assistants can be on the field now. It makes the younger guys a lot better coaches, but how does it help a coordinator like you to have no limits to on-field coaches?
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it hasn't been going on to some extent, right? Like everywhere in the country, you know, now it's just to the level of, to your point, like they can do the skill instruction. You know, they're involved in the meeting rooms, everything else, but now to be able to let, like for me, Coach Bonnie does a great job with our safeties, and I can let him go run individual if I want and walk around. I can't really function like that, so usually I'm down there with him. But there'll be a point in the season, because I trust him unequivocally. He's been with us, you know, going on our second year now. He's with us year one. You know, that he can run that, and so I think that, you know, those guys, their value in those roles are huge for us. You know, I think we're more of a less is more operation here. I think a lot of these places you have, you know, a lot of guys that are out of jobs, now they're stuck in this role and that role, and all of a sudden you have too many people. Like, we don't want to have, you know, too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak. Like, we want like one guy with a position group, whether it's a GA or QC, that a coach really trusts to work with them. Because I think if you have too many voices, all of a sudden it can become a little bit distracting for the players, you know. So, but yeah, we have two. You know, obviously Coach Dunham was elevated from a quality control role, our edge coach, but we have two really good QCs and two really good GAs, you know, on the defensive side of the ball that, you know, Nick Law, Raekwon, and Hassam Ori. Hassam was with Coach Justice working with our O-line. He works with our linebackers now, which is, that's been, you know, a really, really good deal for us, just to have an O-line guy in the defensive staff room. Something that I'll always try to do from here on out. So, yeah, they'll have big roles, especially Coach Ori, Coach Bones, because myself and Coach Crum in the box on game day, so communicating directly with the players. So.
It was a great camp. To boil it down, what excites you the most about your defense and just what you guys do?
Well, I mean, I think, you know, obviously you want to have a talented group, and we have that, but I think, you know, you can be talented and be very average on defense. You can be talented and not play hard. You can be talented and not be sound schematically. You know, you can be talented and not have great team chemistry. And, you know, I think, you know, so far what we've seen is the growth and the effort that they give each and every day. I think that's a lot of credit to our old guys like Elijah Roberts in the D-line room, Brandon Crossley in the corner room. You know, just those older guys positionally that have, hey, this is the expectation when you come in here, whether you're a freshman or a transfer, and trying to hold those guys to that standard. And then I think off of that, like, you know, when you have a talented group, you have to have a level of humility where, hey, we'll leave the ego out the door because we want to win games. And we've seen these guys do that in the past, and they've seen the success from that. You know, especially some of the guys like Brandon that were here year one and that then got to see the growth to year two. You know, so we might play four corners in a game, and this isn't a group that we're going to have a bunch of guys you know, complaining on the sidelines about playing time. They understand what the expectation is, and they understand that, you know, if we've got depth, like we're going to play multiple guys. Because to be great on defense, you can't play 11, 15 guys. You're going to have, you know, 22 to 25 guys that are willing to roll in and out of every game. That's one thing that Coach Tibbs really excited about, like Cam making the switch from Bandit to end. Like, you know, Cam was potentially a starter for us at Bandit, but Elijah played way too many snaps last year, you know, and Coach Tibbs said that, like, there were too many games where he was just, you know, we were relying too much on him. Now you got two guys that are playing at a really high level. So if you play 80 snaps and you got two guys playing, you know, roughly 40 snaps, you know, 55, 35 snaps, whatever that looks like, there's no drop off, you know, and so I think that's where we got to have strength in numbers as a group, and I'm excited about our team chemistry, where we're at, and the effort that they've given going forward.
How much does that depth allow you to make subtle tweaks or just different packages that you maybe couldn't have done last couple of years?
Yeah, I think, you know, we had last year our depth was pretty good, so I think, you know, our depth is comparable, probably a little bit better, maybe a little bit better depth at corner right now in safety overall, but comparable. You know, it's only as good until somebody gets, you know, nicked up, and then now we got to figure out who's in that sub package. But to your point, like, you can work things and be multiple, knowing that, hey, I've got a good second guy, whether it's third and long that we're rolling in here for a cheetah package or a, you know, heavy package in short yardage, whatever those situations are. So, you know, we're excuse me, we're healthy coming out of camp, which is really good. Obviously, you know, staying healthy. as a group. But I mean, collectively, we've got a couple guys that are banged up offensively and defensively that will get back in the next couple of weeks. But on defense in particular, I mean, we're about almost as good as we could be. So excited about that going into the season.
Billy Walton, what have you seen from him just at that bandit spot, and kind of how does he help build that depth up even?
Yeah, I think his growth is going to be really important for us. I mean, I remember it was probably practice 10. I mean, I was on him, and but it was because we know the talent that he has, and he's got a lot of raw ability. I think he's come a long way in a short amount of time. Obviously, he'll be a guy that will really. Going through the weight room will have a huge impact on him a year from now. I mean, if you look at his body and kind of what Isaiah looked like as a freshman to where Isaiah's at now, I think, Coach Grizz does a great job putting weight on guys. So I think that's going to be huge. So hopefully him, getting to a level where he can come in and give us some third down, rush ability, because, splitting those snaps between two guys is not going to be easy at that bandit spot. So him being a guy who can come in and be an edge presence is really important for us.
Just lastly for me, Brandon Booker, what have you seen from him, and where is he at maybe in trying to get in there?
I think he's right in the mix to be playing for us. I mean, the thing that I think I said to you guys the other day when y'all asked me about him, just the level of maturity that Book has, very similar to Kilgore when he came in as a freshman. You have to have that maturity, kind of older veteran approach to play that position as a freshman, because there's so much mental on a linebacker. It's the hardest position to play on defense as a true freshman. You're tied into the front, you're tied into the back end, there's motion, there's this, there's that. And so he's a kid that always wants to learn, takes coaching. You can coach him really hard, he's going to respond the right way because he wants to get better. And so I think the sky's the limit. I think he'll play a lot for us this year. And I think, where he's at week one, he's one of those guys, we talk about exponential growth week to week. You can't judge where he's at week one versus where he's at, by week 5, because I think he's just going, his stock is going to continue to climb as far as his development and growth goes. So really pleased with him and the job that Coach Crum's done working with him so far.
What's the focus heading into this last phase of fall camp?
Yeah, well, I mean, we're getting into Nevada prep now, so obviously, we still are going to spend time emphasizing the fundamentals, whether it's tackling, whether it's pursuit. We're not going to change that. I think that's important. I think week one, we're gonna have to play really hard, getting lined up, tackling. Those base fundamentals aren't going to change. But now you're getting into Nevada prep and making sure our guys are as prepared as we can have them. Obviously, you're prepping for new staff there, so there's a little bit to that. But it's also looking at things and areas maybe that we didn't do well last year, and trying to make sure that those things are cleaned up going into the season, because they're looking at the same film. So. I think now they're excited. They're as this week kind of starts to wind down, we'll have the mock game Thursday. I'm sure there'll be plenty of corrections that we'll have from it. We've only kind of shown them a couple days of Nevada, so then we'll have a good practice hopefully Friday, and then transition into game week.
Any initial impressions of Nevada, and how do you piece all that together, just personnel-wise, coaching?
Is it Nevada or Nevada? I don't know. I'm from the
I
South,
think I go back and forth.
Okay.
Try to respect both sides.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, they have a good quarterback, a dual threat guy that can run. Played a bunch of snaps last year for him, so feel confident based on everything we've seen. He'll probably be the starter, but then looks like some capable backups as well. So there's a quarterback. Maybe at one point there was competition, but it looks like. They'll have the same return to starter from last year. Really deep at running back. So I would imagine, we get some 20 packages with 2 backs in the game, maybe even some 3-back stuff, some of those things. They've got good running backs that they're excited about. I think they've got a solid O-line. They return a good amount up front, physical group up front. And then they've brought in some transfer wide receivers. They've got, some length. Receiver that transferred in from Charleston State. He's got really good length. They've got some good slot guys with speed. So I think collectively, when you look at their record last year, I mean, this is a team that was 10-10, going into halftime. I don't know if it was 10-10 at half against Kansas. And so, it was a good Kansas team. So obviously they weren't far off, and now you bring in a coaching staff that is very experienced. That's a head coach that's won a lot of games over his career. that you know they're going to be really sound, they're going to play really hard, they're going to be tough, they're going to be physical on both sides of the ball. So I think it's going to be a really tough challenge for us week 1. Obviously flying up there in that dynamic. So you know, it's by no means a team that we overlook at all. I think this is a really formidable opponent when you look at what's transferred in there, the quality of the coaches that they have, us having a new team. So it'll be a big time challenge for us.